Hi everyone, Brad here and welcome back to Brad's Books. I've been away for a while. I've been at sea, going overseas, not getting a chance to visit many countries at all, seeing many wharves due to COVID, but I have been away. And so I just really wanted to give a bit of a catch up about what books I've been reading. If you're interested in other books I've been reading or what I've personally been up to, stick around to the end of the video. But this video is primarily about Gregory Maguire's new novel, The Brides of Maracoor, here, that I wanted to just have a brief chat about. So everything else will be at the end. But if you're here for a review on this one, hi. So I was really pleasantly surprised when I got an email that The Brides of Maracoor was coming out, and it was coming out in about 2 or 3 days. I'm not really that active on social media. I didn't see any, I'll take my glasses up, so no reflection there. I didn't really see any adverts. I saw nothing about this coming up at all. So the last time that I really explored the whole universe when it came to Wicked was that I did a video on Son of a Witch. You can go and have a look at. And then I also went on and had a look about the stories of Rain in Out of Oz. I didn't do a video on Out of Oz. So my thoughts on Out of Oz. I really loved it. I thought it was really, really great, the way that they did it. I'm a huge fan of Lear, and I can't really state that enough. Massive fan of Lear. And to see how his story wrapped up, as well as everyone else's, and as well as Rain's, very interesting. I don't know if we got the kind of answers that we want from Trism and Candle and Lear's relationship, but I really liked what they explored with Rain. And the ending of Out of Oz, if you've seen it, I was a little bit not disappointed in the story, because I think it ended really well, but I was disappointed that we were leaving this world behind. So, but Rain just go off and with the book, and I have no spoilers for that. Brides of Maracoor, I bought it online, and I downloaded it on my iPhone, and I pretty much read it within a day or two. I was just really glued to it. So, do I think that someone who has not read the Wicked books, if they could just go straight into this book? Well, potentially. I think give it a go. Why not? I think that the book itself picks up straight from Out of Oz, but the character of Rain is written. I'll have a spoilers chat later on, but for now I'm trying to keep it spoiler free. But the character of Rain is written in such a way that she's not really talking about her time at Oz, her father, her mother. So you could just go in and read this as a new book. And so that's a possibility that you've got. So if you think, I haven't read Wicked, but I like the front cover here, you get a picture of Rain, or you might even, if you haven't read the other books, you might think this is a photo of potentially Elphaba. You just want to pick it up and have a read. You might have some questions, but feel free to go and have a read, because I think it's well worth it, and it really keeps your attention. So what's the book about? Rain arrives on a island with the Brides of Maracoor. And these are brides who have no choice, but they are selected to be on the island, and they have rituals that they must partake in order for the world to function in the way that it does. And I would say that for the world to function correctly and not fall into turmoil and disarray, the brides have to, they do some weaving on the beach, and they also do some scarification on the soles of their feet. It's a daily ritual that they are inducted to as babies. There's always have to be a certain number of brides, and it's been a while since I've read this book, and I want to say that it's 7, and if there's one dies, a new child is brought to the island, inducted as a bride of Maracoor, and she is shown the way. So that's really quite interesting. So that Rain, who is a witch, who has actual magical ability and the ability to fly, and also has a talking goose by her side, arrives onto an island of 7 brides who have religious duties, and if they don't see to their daily duties, that the world itself can end. There's a larger scope. So who's Maracoor? Maracoor is the city, the town where the city, the mainland, where the brides are taken from as children. So, or as infants. So they have no idea what exists beyond their island and also their responsibility. So it's the story, without too many spoilers, is really talking about these women, the idea of religion, authority, expectation that's thrust upon you, but also corruption of power and how people can present themselves as a leader, as true, and not only are they true, but they've also got like their religious responsibilities behind them, and you can trust them, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. People can be manipulative, and particularly towards the young. It's very easy to steer people. Can be blinded by faith, but also blinded by corruption and people who are manipulative and means to their own ends. So there's a character of Kossi. That's how I've been pronouncing in the book as I read it, quite a young character, the youngest bride, and she's really torn between her responsibilities of religion that she's been inducted into, she has no really understanding of, the senior bride, who's an authoritative figure, and she's taken that authority, meaning also she has to trust, but also Rain. This is a girl who's got green skin and who doesn't do scarification on the bottom of her feet, and she doesn't have to do any sort of daily like ritual to ensure that the world's going to keep on spinning. So very interesting in that kind of regard. But also how we've got this religion, but we've also got a man who's semi in charge of it, really. He's got not a part of the religion, not a part of their sect, but as an authority and someone who the brides are aware of and somewhat a bit subservient to, perhaps. So it's very interesting in all that kind of regards. Not something that I would have thought in Out of Oz, where we would have seen Rain really appear into. So hopefully I've done the book some sort of justice. If you're interested in reading the book, I would thoroughly recommend it. How many pages does it have? It's about 360 pages. I had it on my little iPhone, which I'm filming on at the moment, so I was just kind of swiping away as I was reading, and I felt like I read it really quickly. If you're a fan of the old books, if you're a fan of the new books, if you are interested in the idea of a witch with green skin who's traditionally an outcast, but actually being able to get people to open their minds to a new point of view, I think this book's for you. If you've read the book, what are my thoughts on it? Well, keep in mind that I did read it very quickly in those few days. I think when I read it out of an actual book, that I get to a chapter and I think to myself, I'm going to take a break now, or a chapter or two, and I kind of really space it out. I really flew through this book, so I was so excited. I didn't know what I was going to find. I really wanted to find out a bit more about Lear, Trism and Candle, because last time that we left Lear in Out of Oz, he was on the farm, and there was a broomstick tree that was growing, and Rain left him, and Lear was by himself. Candle's gone, Trism's gone, and he's by himself. From my memory, I can kind of picture him that he's writing perhaps his story. I have to go back and revisit that book. Great book. Brides of Maracoor. The goose. I've gone through this whole book. I can't remember the goose's name. I want to say that he's a general. Maybe I don't think he was even a general from Son of a Witch, but also Out of Oz. So I wanted to say Iskanari, but of course that's the flying monkey. So it's not Iskanari. So apologies. If you remember the goose's name, feel free to write it down if I've missed it there. Lucicles? The male from Maracoor, the man who comes through, and he's kind of got that control over the religion. Not only does he report back to the mainland and to their kind of god figure, Amora, but to their human, divine human figure on the mainland about what the brides are up to. But he also selects the brides. So he's got this idea that he's really like the controlling, calming influence, authoritative influence. He comes into this female island in this female-led sect, and still they fear him somewhat. They try and put on a good show when he's around, and he has the power, though he doesn't really... What am I trying to say? He's got the power to actually physically choose the infants who are going to go onto the island. So he's got a lot more part of this sect than perhaps is really kind of said, obviously. But he goes and sees it rains there, so we've got too many brides on the island now, and things are going wrong. On the land of Maracoor itself, they had a foreign army who have invaded, and the people are running, and Liscles is torn between what he has to do as a father, but also his government responsibilities. And Helena and Cozy have this relationship where Helena feels she has somewhat of control about who the next bride should be. She's not happy to die and pass on this actual role and responsibility of head bride. If the brides actually mean anything themselves, within themselves, do their taskings, their self, like I want to say mutilation or scarification and their weaving, does it actually do anything? Do the brides know that all they know is that this religion that they have, and that they must maintain, keep doing what they do every day, because that's how it's always been done. But manipulation can come into this, and I thought the book was just kind of fascinating. I really enjoyed it. I like that we took Rain and we just took her to a completely new world, and we just put her in scenarios where she's really questioning what she sees, and within herself, she doesn't have her memory. It's lost to her. She can't remember the Gregory, her father, anything like that. But she's still questioning. She's knows herself enough to go, why are we doing this? Should we continue doing things because that's the way it's always been done? And when the mainland accuses Cozy of murder, Rain really steps up for her. Like, she is a child. She might be this bride of Maracoor, this responsibility that you've given her, this weight of responsibility for like all earthliness, where I don't think that the actual godlike figure at the end there, which is just the human who's really just sitting in like a deity's position, here even kind of really blows off their responsibility. It's treating them like they're almost a government position, a position they had no choice in to enter, no ability to leave, and only through death. So it's all really quite interesting. My favorite part, I think, was potentially at the end when Cozy escaped, and she's been doing like little bits of magic throughout the book, and she jumps and the wind swells around her, and it's like, wow, like Rain flies with a broom and Cozy can't fly at all. And it's interesting how that kind of plays out and whatnot. And we see Canary and the other monkeys, and Rain's kind of back to her position. She once remembers her love from Oz and her family and who she is. So I'm really quite keen to see the next book, the Oracle of Maracoor, where Gregory Maguire is going to go with this. I think so. It's really fascinating. So I think we should give the book a bit of a read, and if you haven't, I hopefully haven't spoiled too much. I think, but it's definitely worth reading, and I thoroughly recommend it. I think a good, I want to say like a 4 out of 5, but I can't really justify that because I think it's pretty great. I just come out of nowhere, this book, and to me anyway, lives a very sheltered media existence, social media existence, but it's really gone in a direction I wouldn't have thought of. And I'm quite keen to see how this plays out and ties back into the land of Oz. So I've been overseas, at sea. I'm a healthcare worker. I'm currently moving around Australia quite a bit. Hopefully go home for the holidays over Christmas, because I didn't get to see my family last year, and then moving up to Northern Australia in the new year, so it should be fairly exciting. Other books I've been reading, Puff Piece by John Safran. I think that's really interesting, how big companies with vaping, how it differs to law when it comes to cigarette sales and tobacco sales, and are they the same thing and whatnot. So, and John Safran's a very funny Australian comedian. I've been following for a long time, ever since I saw his DVD, John Safran's Music Jamboree, like I think, what, 18 years ago. It's funny, educational, and it's really talking about kind of like things that's in the news now. Been reading an old Fear Street book, just for a bit of nostalgia there. Speaking of nostalgia, one of many that I have, Stay Out of the Basement from the Goosebumps. I got a book on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, just a bit of behind the scenes. Yeah, pretty good, pretty detailed and full on. So just something I can read when I'm away, and just day after day is a little bit the same. Another Australian comedian, Judith Lucy. Turns Out I'm Fine. I saw her live when I was in Albury, and she was really fantastic. I got this given to me by a friend, The Brain That Changes Itself. Very interesting, good concepts, and it's just he was leaving WA and he had a few too many books, stuff to fly back over, so left me this. Now this is one that I haven't finished yet, but I really was enjoying, The Witch's Heart. So it's looking at Norse mythology. It's got Loki in here, the trickster god, and it's also has, I want to say it's Angra and I'm embarrassed in my Angra. I think if I've watched anything on Norse mythology, that's probably where I'm going for. Can't think of that university Norse mythology YouTube channel, but interesting, different take on Loki and his children, and a bit serious but also fantasy, and I need to finish this and see how it actually goes. But for Angra mythology, I do know how it ends out, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I probably shouldn't have looked that up on Wikipedia, because I've kind of spoiled the book and I've stopped reading it, but I need to get back to that and actually give it a bit of a shot. And the other book that I have is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So I'm very keen to read this one. Brims with rugged sexuality, a part coming of age story, part coming out story, and part Hollywood blockbuster. So it seems pretty good. I've been recommended it, but sexy, dangerous, and mystical. Captivating, a hard book to put down. So that's something that I'm going to read, and yes. So I'm going to try and get a bit more videos out there. I'll try and be in contact a bit more often. I'm trying to do my own writing. I've got a story in mind. It's not a sequel to my other book, Piano Wire, that I put up on a video about. It's kind of like a new concept that I've got. So I'm starting that, well, it's in my mind to start it, and that's what I'm gonna be working on. So once again, hopefully I'll have a bit of a nicer backdrop next time, except for this blank room. I'll be moving around quite a bit, so yeah. So if you have read Brides of Maracoor, or you're keen to, or you have any discussion points, feel free to leave a comment for me. If you've got any questions or anything, give me a yell. But if not, I hope you all take care, have a great holiday season, and I hope that you're all, for those who are kind of stuck out there by themselves, which I've always been around people, but I hope that books are keeping you company and that you're reading some good ones. And if you've got any suggestions for me at all, just let me know. All right, take care. Bye.